Hey guys, Paytux here. I have a demo from a new team that I'm coaching, in Search of Senpai. I like their team name, but this is the first demo I'm going to be going over by them. I have another one lined up, so I'll post that after this video. So we're just going to hop right into it. The first thing I wanted to point out in this demo is that you guys need a line of scrimmage. Like if we go towards, or even just a little bit sooner, like everyone's sitting here waiting to leash this, and you guys worded this, but like no one's looking up here. Like they could be like here and about to like invade you guys from the backside. I mean, not that you guys would die to that invade, but they could have vision all in your jungle and you have no idea. Vlad's just sitting mid. Liz is not anywhere really that stops them from getting in. People could be here and go to steal Gromp or just like catch her coming back to lane for a free first blood. Several, just you guys want to set up a line of scrimmage. You'd have like mid sit here, top sit here, or at least ward those areas. You'd have, the jungler sit up here until he has to go to his drop, or you'd have like one person here, and then the other person could come up and just drop a ward here or stand up here, and then you have the third just ready to leash. So, yeah, just because you don't want to just be wasting the time early game. Luckily, Wukong was DC'd this game, so you guys get a free 1v2 bot lane, which is pretty nice. But here, if you're 1v2 until the other one person shows up, I know you guys were like trying to push out of just natural habit to try to hit level 2 first, but it's best to just try to freeze against solo. So once you realize you're just against Lucian and that Lulu's covering top, that tells you that Wukong's DC'd and that you guys should just be freezing this and not pushing it. But because you've already like pushed it to this point, you need to like hard push it all the way to the tower so it bounces off and resets the lane so that you guys actually can start freezing. Sivir, generally you want to start W, not Q. It costs less mana and can pump out more DPS, but the 1v2 means that it doesn't really matter in this situation. Also, Xin Zhao, while you're clearing, you should pop the W first and then Q. I noticed a lot of time you were like popping Q first and then like turning W on once your Q expired. If you do W first and then you do Q, the Q will reduce the cooldown of W, so you'll have it up more often, and that'll improve your clear speed a little bit. Also, I noticed this game you max Q first and then E. I've always maxed E first, and so has all the other Xin Zhao players that I know. Maybe a recent trend in like professional play or something has said otherwise, but as far as I know, the standard operating procedure has always been to max E first, just for the burst damage and the AoE wave clear, and to reduce the cooldown for ganks. So I just have always thought that was better. If Q seems to be working okay for you, but you might want to try out the Emax and see if there's any difference in clear speed, or double check what pros are doing, because I didn't take the time to look it up. I might just be set in my ways since like 2 seasons ago. 320, we can hop back here. So you guys have a free 1v2 lane, and Lucian ends up getting first blood. So that should never happen. So we're gonna see why in a second. So right here, Lucian is lower health than Sivir, and Amumu is lower health than Morgana. So you guys have no reason to not take this fight. And Morg realizes that. She comes up just to work, but then she turns snares and W's, which was really good. The problem here though was that this entire time that Morg was putting damage on Amumu, Sivir should have been putting damage on Amumu as well. And even if you didn't really think you could kill Amumu, the fact that you run away right here leaves Lucian free to come into Morgana. If you had stayed zoning, like you could have finished off the tank minion, and Lucian would have pulled tank minion aggro. If he tried to attack you, then you could have just turned and killed him. That would have been free. Or you could just turn and start attacking Amumu, and you guys would have bursted Amumu down. Because if you had still been up here, Lucian would not come in right here, because he only comes in because you give him a free window that you telegraph that you're not gonna defend Morgana at all. So he sees that you keep backing off and he jumps in and, you know, puts damage on her. Like, look how much damage you did right there. Like, easy. So just don't run, protect your teammates. Also, I don't know why you're holding on to your health pot for so long. So, like, you're half health. If you had popped your health pot before you were doing shenanigans over here, you would have been at even higher health and would have felt more comfortable defending that as well. So yeah, you don't want to give first, like, this almost threw the DC advantage away, which you really don't want to do. So the next thing I want to point out in this game is around 5 minutes. So let's get there. This is just kind of a wasted teleport. You teleported to this ward when Zinzao was in here. Now Zinzao shouldn't have been in here invading. Like, look how far away Lysandra is, and you don't have any like wards or anything in the jungle. So if you want to like steal golems, it's good to like drop a ward, your trinket ward here. If you enter in here, you know, don't see anyone here, drop a trinket ward here, then loop up to golems. Or if you just come in this way, then what you can do is if you get all the way against this wall, you can ward over here into the bush, so that way you can see if someone's coming or not, and you have more time to get out. But really, unless your laner's like pushing and can back you up a little faster, you shouldn't really be in there. The fact that Lys had to TP in to come save you was that is such a wasted TP. I'm not saying that it wasn't necessary in this situation, and I don't want to put the blame solely on Lysandra for like putting that TP on cooldown. If you felt you had to use it to save Zen, then that's fine, that's justified. But next time you guys should avoid something where that's needed. Like, that shouldn't have been needed. Zen shouldn't have been there, or a ward should have been placed in this bush if you came in through top side over this wall, or in this bush if you came in through the south exit and then looped up. And then that way Liz won't have to blow TP to try to help you out. Well, here, I'm gonna give some general notes for the game before I hop on to the next timestamp. Vlad, your last hitting with Q and W is really good, but your last hitting with just your auto attacks was a little rusty. I assume that you're probably kind of new to Vlad. I don't, because you didn't give him to me in your list of champion pools, and I know that I recommended that you start to play him. So I'm sure that'll get better over time, but just work on you like knowing how much damage your auto attacks do. If you want, you can even click on like the minion's health as you're like waiting last hit, so that you know when you can spike it at, or rather last hit at that. You guys had good calls this game overall. Your builds were really wacky, but I'll get into that when we see the list of builds start showing up. So I'm gonna hop towards 7 minutes or so. Oh, I just wanted to point this out. This was a really good spell shield way to move and try to engage on you. Sivir Morg is like double spell shield lane. It's pretty dumb. So you guys shouldn't really be afraid of any ganks. And then on that note, so that was a good example of using your spell shield. A bad example was, let's see if I can find it. Okay, at 9 minutes. So here, and this wasn't a Sivir spell shield, and the Morg shield was good. So obviously, you know, you guys don't want to fight this, right? So really what you should do is just wait until he gets in range and like have Morgana spell shield, and if Sivir needs to, pop her spell shield and run out. The problem here is that instead of just running straight out like Morg should be doing, and we're just letting, because Sivir spell shield doesn't cost anything, so okay, so it was still on cooldown. I'm not sure what you used it on. Let's go back and find out. Okay, so it's up here. Or maybe it wasn't down. Okay, it wasn't down. I don't know why it looked like it was down before. Okay, so I'm not sure if it was actually down or not, because this replay is being wacky now. But Morg, don't body block for Sivir. Like, just let her use her own spell shield for herself, and you use your spell shield, and both of you just need to like GTFO and get out of there. because you body block, you delayed your own escape, and then they just waited for your shield to expire and they ulted you. Um, yeah, I've never seen replays like pretend like show me a cooldown and then when I rewind it's just like not there anymore. So, because I didn't see you use it, but maybe you just did like way before then and it was still on cooldown. So, but whatever. So anyway, back to the first kill you guys got on the spot lane. You did a really good call to get Dragon afterwards, so that was really good. I was proud of your macro. Zen, in this team comp, you're the main tank. You guys have triple AP. Listen, Vlad and Morgul get Zhonya's, so that is like their form of self peel. But you have to remember that the entire time that they're in Zhonya's, the enemy isn't going to have anything to hit but you. So you have to get tanky just to live, and because you're the main tank on this team. So really, you shouldn't be going Devour, you should be going Cinderhulk. And Xin Zhao doesn't really... Like, his clear speed is good early game, and his sustain is really good, but you're not great at stacking Devourer that quickly once you obtain it, because you don't... Most people don't want to make it to, like, level 6 or 7 or so. And by then, you should really be focusing on, like, using your early strength and pressure to snowball the lanes, which means that you're not going to have a lot of time to farm jungle camps, so Cinderhulk is just better, and especially since, like, you're the only, like, main tank on this team. And then after this, you go for Black Cleaver. Don't get baited into buying the new Black Cleaver. It's not that good on most champions that you're going to be playing. So really, and especially since they have like Heimer, Amumu, like Wukong, like that's a lot of front-loaded damage in a team fight. So if you had gone like Cinderhulk, Locket, Randoins, and then, you know, Righteous Glory somewhere in there, that would have been like really good. You would have been super tanky. You would have had the Locket shield for burst. Because you know that Morg's probably not going to rush Locket. Like, that's generally not how people play Morg support. She's probably going to go like Zhonya's. So you guys are going to need a Locket from somewhere. And it's not going to be Liss, so that's a jungler job. And it would have just made you way tankier too. You have really high base damages, and Black Cleaver doesn't scale that well. Especially considering that, like, the armor shred that you're putting on them, most of your team isn't benefiting from. You have Lissandra, Morgana, Vlad. They don't care that you're shredding the enemy's armor at all. That doesn't matter to them. So it's kind of wasted gold. I know it's like a shiny new item and everyone wants to try it out, but just play your standard core and don't get baited into item inefficiencies because things are new. 10:30. Let's go 10:30. This was just a quick little note. So regardless of what happens here, you can just wait for this lane to reset because you pushed it, and minions are meeting back in the middle now. So you can either stay and just push this one more time, because you never want to back on a tank minion wave. You don't want to miss that XP and gold, especially since Amumu is backing off. And even if he hadn't back off, because you recentered the lane, you were fine to farm this, and his ult wasn't up anyway, his ult was down. So there was no reason to back there yet. Also, you shouldn't be going Roa first. I know some pros go Roa before they get their Morello Zhonya's core, but that's because they can farm so well. And you're farming well, you're not farming poorly by any means, but it's just really important for you to get that core of, and it doesn't have to be Morello's, you can go with things if you want to. You just need that early CDR item, and then the early Zhonya's, and then you need the, I also noticed you were not running scaling CDR glyphs on Lissandra. You were running like the flat 5%, and I think that's just from Masters, I don't even think that's from Runes. So you should run the 9 scaling CDR glyphs, and then the 5% from Masteries, so that puts you at 20, and then your first CDR item, Morello's or Athene's, will put you at 20. Granted, that's at level 18, not early game, but it's still important to get the early CDR in your core. So you can go like Sork Shoes, Morello's or Athene's, pick one, and then just rush Zhonya's. You don't need the early Roa, especially considering that Wu's DC. Like, I can understand that maybe if Wu was connected, he's kind of a lane bully and you want the extra health so that you can survive. But with Mumu and Lulu being the ones like trying to cover top lane, you don't need it at all. And you really want that early Zhonya's. And so after that, go Abyssal as well, because I know Morg eventually picks up Abyssal Scepter here, but it's easier for the top laner to get it than it is the support because you have more gold income, and you'll be actually more in the fights than Morgana will usually because you'll be the one diving into ult someone, mainly like a backline carry, and then you're using your like double stasis. So that entire time you're in double stasis with your ult in Zhonya's, you can just be applying the MR shred. I wouldn't recommend getting Abyssal and Vlad in this game because he's kind of going to be lurking on the outside of fights, and Morg's going to be going in and out, but she's also going to be lurking to put spell shields on people near the outer edges of the fight. So it's really just best for Liz to get it. So if you had gone Athene's, Zhonya's Abyssal, that would have been like super good, or Morella's Zhonya's Abyssal as well. But I see you go Roa, and then later in the game you get a Hana guys, and look like you're going for Andrews, which is really not that good on Lysandra, especially since they don't really have a main tank other than a Mumu. Like, no one else on their team is trying to get tanky. Like, Wukong would, but he's not connected, and he gets in the game really late, and so he doesn't build any sort of defense for a while. So Leandre's isn't that great on Lysandra. So just stick to your core, and also Vlad. You go Ludens, which it's not bad on Vlad, but it's not a good early core for you. You definitely want all of you guys want Zhonya's earlier. Morg gets Zhonya's at an appropriate time, but Lysandra and Lysandra and Vlad definitely needed Zhonya sooner. So now that you have Hex Tech and it looks like you're going for full Wodo, instead of going full Wodo right away, just go Hex Tech and then Sword Shoes. Normally you start Boots Pots, not Dorn's Shield, but against Heimer and his turrets, like Dorn's Shield is actually pretty good, so that's okay for this game. But I don't know if you thought that, or if you just always go Dorn's Shield. So if you always go Dorn's Shield, don't, but it's okay in this matchup. But in most matchups you're going to go Boots for Pots, and then that'll make it easier for you to go Boots, and then Hextech Revolver, and then Sork Shoes, and then Woda. It's generally a good core, because you need to make sure you have the movement speed to get away in the duration of your blood pool if you get ganked. Also, you didn't take blood pool to level 4 this game, which was kind of risky, but it was okay because their jungler was almost always accounted for. So I'm gonna start skipping ahead again. So right here, they turn, and the list TP is really late. So as soon as Morg like steps up to go for this, List needs to, like, this tower is gonna die to minions. You don't really, maybe this one less auto attack and then just back off. And because if you're looking to TP, obviously you don't want to be in range for Lulu to interrupt you, so you would want to head back into this bush so that she didn't see you TPing and she'd have to rely on her teammates calling it. And then of course her reaction would be slower then. So right here, you should hit that tower and then immediately start backing off. And then the fact that they start advancing here and Maddie runs up instead of runs back means that you need to be ready to TP. And you could have started TPing at 13-12, but assuming that someone here is going to call it at 13-12, then we can just say that you should be starting to TP at 13-13. So we'll give you like a second to react to the call. So like right there was 3-12. I paused a little late, but as soon as the movement landed that, like, the shot caller should have said TP, and then 13-13 you could be starting to TP to this now. But you haven't backed off of the tower yet. You're still auto-attacking it when it's going to die to minions anyway, and you're in range for Lulu. So now you need a couple extra seconds to get back and away from Lulu. But so if you had backed off after that first auto, you'd be, by 13-13 you'd be in this bush and you'd be ready to TP. And you already have an available ward right here. So, but you don't TP in until 5 seconds later, which one of your person is already dead and another person is too low to fight. So, but you do get in and you flash ult, which is good. So, but also right here, Liz has a good ult, but Vlad needs to commit to this kill more. So right here, he's low enough to where an auto will kill him, and Liss has tower aggro, so there's no reason for Vlad to not keep going forward to secure the kill. In fact, you could go forward and kill him, and then even try to go for him, and if you can't, just like loop back out this way, but that's kind of greedy, so just, you can keep stepping up and making sure that you kill him with another auto attack or anything that's about to come off cooldown. But instead, even while she still has tower aggro, you already are backing off, just assuming that Liss or some magical thing is going to finish him off. So you need to just make sure that you're securing kills, because he gets away for no reason right here. Like, he is so dead. That was such a free kill. He was down to like 8 health. So just make sure you're aware of who has aggro, and that you're not wasting that timer, that you're not letting it go to waste. Also, Xin Zhao. This is a really important one. And you should keep this in mind for any situation, even when you're just ganking mid, you should be using your smites on Heimerdinger towers. Especially considering that you have Trailblazer, you can use the smite on the towers for heals. So your smite's up here. You miss ult there, that's unfortunate, but that's not your fault, you flashed it. So here you can smite this tower immediately so that it doesn't do any damage to you, because this has 427 and your smite right now is doing 640. So smite one-shots the tower. So that's free and it heals you. You don't really need the heal yet, so I mean you can wait a little bit if you want. But like, and then he puts the big tower down. So here, at some point, you should definitely be smiting this tower for a heal, because you get Shrek. Like, look how much health you just lost instantly. So here you secure the kill, and you should smite this tower for a heal and just like run down and away, or run over to Sivir for safety. But instead, you don't smite it and you run upwards, which the safety is not here. This is not where you should be going if you want to go to safety. You should be going down or over to Sivir, and Sivir even forced Lucian to back up off of this tower. And your smite is up and you have Trailblazer, so it would have healed you. So there's no reason to run up this way. And then to have not smited. And then here you died to Lucian, so bad place to run. No bueno. Go down or to the right. And then, well, here actually I can just let it play from here. Okay, so right here, you stepped up a little too far there, but that's okay. Vlad flashing over the wall was okay because you didn't want to die to his AoE, but he's out of mana and that was about to turn off, so you could have like circled back around here and y'all probably could have finished him off. I know Lucian was kind of scary, so and if you had done that, he probably would have dashed in. So it's okay that you guys backed off here. So good reactionary flash, and then Sivir around 1918. So right here, Liss is coming in. You have like done your job of baiting already. You don't need to go in and like stay here and let him hit you or try to help with damage at all. Liss has ult, she has everything. She even has flash. Like, she's going to kill Lucian, so you can just back off and run away here. But you give him a free kill, just kind of like chase after him and die right before she gets the kill. So if you had just ran away, like, that would have been free. You didn't need to sacrifice that. Your mechanics on Sivir are actually fine. I know you were complaining that you didn't really like playing Sivir. Your mechanics are fine and your DPS is fine and all that, but your positioning is really what seems to be causing you problems, and your positioning kind of more like a Vayne than a Sivir. So and I'll point out a couple more examples of that. So you just have to make sure that you're switching your playstyles based on who you're playing, because I know you played Kog'Maw right before this game, and Kog has a lot more range than Sivir does, so maybe you were thinking that you could participate in fights that you really couldn't, because you thought you were used to having like longer range in the last game than you did this game. So just try to reset your mentality in between every game, especially if you're picking different champions. But yeah, so you could have just let Lysandra kill right here, and then at 20, 28 or so. This was a really good Morg binding to Zone move off of the dragon. So good job. That was awesome. And then I'm gonna just reiterate builds here one more time. So Zinzao, your early core should be like Merc Treads, Cinder Hulk, Locket, Randuin's, Righteous Glory, Lysandra, you should be going Sork Shoes, CDR Item, Zonia's Abyssal, Vlad, you should be going Zonia's, not Luden's first, which I thought you were doing when I saw Needless, and then this, and then you upgraded and got Luden's. It's nice, like the movement speed's nice on Vlad, but you really want the Zonia's. Especially considering their comp, like Heimerdinger, Wukong, and Moon, like that's so much like AoE ultimates and like just like burst damage that you would want to dodge with the Zonias. You have Blood Pool and Lysandra has ult, but like that's just more of a reason to get Zonias and like stack those invulnerabilities. It's not an excuse to not get it, which hopefully wasn't the mentality, but that's okay. So 25:45, 5 minutes from here. Oops. So right here, like you guys shouldn't be taking tower hits. This was really greedy. You had, got a couple kills and the drag was coming from 45. You could either just not go for this tower and back and prep for dragon, which would have been the safest decision, or you could have got this tower, but you needed to be a lot more careful about doing it, because right now everyone's at okay health. Like Lysandra's kind of low health, but that's okay. She can claw away if she needs to, but there's no reason for people to be taking tower hits here. You should just be like waiting for your minions to get there, wave clearing and then pushing up with the minions. So like here, like Vlad takes 2, Sivir takes 1, and then Wukong comes in and bursts you guys down a little bit. Everyone's still kind of okay health, but at this point, like once Sivir gets this low health, you just give up this tower and go prep for dragon. Staying was really greedy. You guys get the tower, so right here you need to immediately break. You guys need more clean breaks after your objectives. So clean break here, go back and buy, or just set up wards and make sure that it's not going to get contested. But you guys keep pushing up and take a lot of damage. Sivir has to blow flash there just to live, and then like Zinzao and Vlad come back and try to zone them away. So you guys wasted like a good 10 to 15 seconds here doing nothing, and it like delays your ability to dragon and allows them time to like come back and contest it, which we see here. So here, and this was the reason I was saying this. So because Sivir got so low, before you guys were sieging that tower, she was full health, and then she had to blow flash just to live, and then had to back. So now dragon spawning in Sivir's in base, which means that this is not the best scenario to be in right now. So if you hadn't taken that damage, you could have still been here, or you guys could have just not gone for the tower. You could have got the tower without anyone getting low health though, if you had just like not tanked aggro and backed off when like they had too much up. But the greed kind of got Sivir low, made Sivir back. So now the condition is Sivir has backed. We'd like to get dragon if we can, but we don't want to fight. So if they try to come in and contest, you guys have to forfeit this dragon and back off. But instead of doing either of those things, instead of like passively getting dragon and like trying to zone them and then backing off if they come, or just forfeiting it in general, you guys actually initiate. This was a good Morg snare, but there was no reason to try to go in and follow up on it. Vlad and Lysandra, you guys should know, Sivir's in base, we shouldn't be fighting. We don't have our AoE 80 carry, we only have our magic damage. Lysandra ult is down, and most of you guys don't have like flash up, so you shouldn't be trying to fight right here, especially like right as dragon is spawning and Sivir is not with you guys. So Lysandra claws in, and as a rule of thumb, if you don't have ult, you should never claw in. The only reason you claw in is to like pop ult on somebody or just do your big AoE combo with your ult in the middle of a team fight. But so Vlad gets bursted really low. Vlad initiates, and then Lysandra goes in and dies. Vlad backs off. Morgana blows Sonya's, and then dies. So now you guys went from, maybe getting the dragon, or just being able to just poke around and like do your little dragon dance to stall for Sivir to have time to come come to drag, to 2 people just died and you're losing drag anyway. So, and you put other things on cooldowns like Zonias and things like that. So that was just really a bad situation, and it didn't look like Zen was the one who called it. It looked like Vlad called it, or maybe after the Morg snare, you guys just got too excited about it, and everyone was like, "Oh, we got a snare, like go in." But like Heimer has Zonias, and you didn't have vision on the rest of their team. Like you had this ward, but this whole area was fog, so it was just too risky. Also, Vlad, this exit, this escape worked well for you, but you made a crucial error right here, where you realized that some people got low after these shenanigans, and you were like, oh, I can come back in for a kill. But really, what you should have done, instead of like coming out here and showing yourself in the open, you should have just stayed in this bush and lurked for like Lucian to come farm this, or came down over here and hoped that one of these guys were gonna walk up. But seeing with this ward, you kind of knew that they weren't. Actually, and well, Lulu only comes up here because she sees you fighting. So if you had stayed here, you probably wouldn't have got anything. But if you had just stayed lurking here, you probably would have got either Lucian coming to farm or a Mumu coming into the jungle. So I don't know if you would have wanted to go on a Mumu. But because you like came out in the open, they completely realized what you were trying to do, and they converged on you and just kind of killed you. So that was unfortunate. So just lurk more is really my only main thing I want to get across there, is don't show yourself for no reason. Deny as much information to them as you possibly can, especially if you already know what you want to do. No, okay, 32. So I'm gonna hop 5 minutes from now. This is close enough. So this is another example of what I was talking about with clean breaking after objectives. So this is really good. You guys get this tower. You had won a fight. You got the tower, and you got the inhib. So you won a fight and took an objective afterwards. Great, awesome calls. However, so right here, you have the inhib. That is an objective taken. Team fight won. People are spawning now. You guys have a lot of gold that you need to go spend. So here, everyone needs to back off, go buy, drags up in 20, set up for drag. So, got the inhib, back, buy, prep for drag, get drag. But because you guys don't clean break off of this, like you guys kind of stay here trying to push more minions in, and Maddie goes over here to try to wave clear and hit the tower. You guys aren't ready for the next objective, and it kind of slows you from closing this game out. So, I mean, not that anyone dies as a result of it, but it should have been a clean break. Maddie got kind of low from it, and you guys wasted time. You still get the dragon, but last time you guys didn't clean break from an objective, it costed you dragon. It didn't this time, but it did allow them to move up here and set up vision for free. So, and I think I mentioned that in your practice the other day when I was listening in on your comms and giving you notes in between games. I said the same thing, that you guys need, your objectives are good after team fights, but you need to like have better clean breaks and spend your gold more often. So just don't straggle. Don't be a straggler. If once the call is over, regroup, go back. So you guys do Baron like a minute from now. Let's speed up. And this is kind of terrifying for me because Xin Zhao isn't the one who secures this. In fact, you don't smite at all, and Lucian's ulting. Liz gets that with like a W or something. That was like a 50-50 flip of the coin as to who got the Baron right there. You definitely need to be smiting to secure it. Your smite does 900 true damage, and Lysandra got it with like 4 to 500 damage W. So that's not good. That could have easily been stolen from Lucian. His ult does plenty of damage, and Amumu wasn't too far away either. So he could have gone in for it as well. So you guys got really lucky that you were the ones who ended up getting the Baron, but it could have gone the other way. It was a risky Baron to begin with because like you had a pink here, but you didn't have a pink in the pit. I know you guys like had sweepers and stuff, but you had okay vision right here and right here. But this isn't enough warning time to successfully back off and reset the health bar in time. You guys, if you want a Baron, you need deeper wards like right here and right here, so that as soon as they come up, you guys can like get off of it and let the health regen. Because if Baron's like smite range and you see them on these wards, you don't really have enough time to let it reset. They could still come in and like secure it and steal it. So smite wards are always risky, and there's really no reason to go for Baron unless you've already won a team fight. Trying to sneak it is always risky, and especially if you're not going to use smite. So you guys need more practice with dragon dances and Baron dances. But hopefully I can give you more notes on those in the future when I spectate more demos. So this is all good. This team fight's alright. You guys got the Baron, so really just chasing them down, and that's free. Now, the main problem you guys have is, and I noticed this in the earlier tower down here, is you juggle tower aggro really poorly, or don't pay attention to who has tower aggro. So you killed 3 people, you're getting inhib, you have Baron, and this is a smart call. You know you have supers in this lane already, it's available, so you just come down, clear the wave, and put Baron buff up. Now right here, Zen shouldn't be in front of the minions. You guys should be pushing the minions in and waiting for it. Like, this isn't really that big of a wave, but every little bit on the tower counts. So luckily you do back off and you let the minions take this. And at first, you guys do a really good job of rushing down the tower. So like, look how fast you got that tower down. Now right here though, Morg has pulled tower aggro, and Liss is putting damage on Amumu. Sivir should be still hitting the tower. This entire time, Maddie, your entire job right here is to finish this tower off. It has 700 health, you know, 3-4 auto attacks should do it. I'm not sure how much AP you have. Oh yeah. So we need maybe 3 auto attacks will kill this tower, and especially with the super minions still hitting it. So your job is to finish the tower off. That's almost always an AD carry's job. If you guys are fighting under a tower, and you can kill the tower before your team gets aced, you should hit the tower until it's dead before you swap the fight. Now, like, if they're on you, that's a different story, start backing off, but if they're focusing your teammates, like, you shouldn't, like, right here you turn and start hitting a Mumu. So this entire time that you guys went to kill a Mumu, the tower has done so much damage. It put a little bit on Liss. Actually, I don't think Liss took it at all, but it put tons of damage on Xin Zhao and Morgana, and now it's putting damage onto Sivir. Like, you've pulled tower aggro at this point because Morg got out of range. He gets out of range right now. I'll replay it again in slow-mo, because this is super important. Things like this will like slow you guys from closing games out so hard. So right there, you even went for a boomerang just to pop a spell shield instead of hitting the tower. So like this whole time, there, now you're starting to hit the tower. And right there, like, it was okay to like kind of go this way to get out of Amumu ult range, but you had no reason to like pull back off and start hitting Amumu. You should have been hitting this tower this whole time. So all of this damage, and you, Sivir, you have tower aggro right here, and you got like hard bursted by the tower. Wukong's really, he looks like he's the one doing damage to you, but he's not doing much damage at all to you. He has Hydra, but that's it. And when Sivir dies, it makes it really hard for you guys to close out. But, so if Sivir had lived, had not had tower aggro, or had just finished this tower aggro, towered down and killed it before you guys turned to fight, this would have been game over. You would have ended right here. And you still could have ended, even without Sivir. It just makes it really difficult. And Zen was hitting minions instead of the tower right there too, so Zen, you should have been hitting the tower. Now here is mainly where the big mistake is. Instead of killing that tower and then backing off and pushing your minions into it and making this tower aggro minions, you turn and you tank the tower for forever. this whole time. And then List takes the tower aggro too. So you guys are pulling tower aggro, taking free tower shots for no reason again. And then Heimer coming in shouldn't be that intimidating for you guys. You know that Wukong and Amuma are dead. Lucian's coming up, but he puts his tower down here. You have Smite up. Like, this is easy tower. All you have to do is Smite it and let Vlad hit it, and you guys have nothing to fear. And then you could have just, like, mowed Heimerdinger over. But, so you guys eventually just, like, back up off of it. Which is alright, you know, better safe than sorry, but you guys could have definitely closed the game out there. And then this is something I wanted to mention specifically to Sivir. You don't, as Sivir, your playstyle, your goal is really like AoE, siege, and like teamfight, and like to put AoE damage down in a teamfight, or to hit towers and, you know, wave clear, things like that. You're not Twitch, you're not Vayne, you don't ever want to 1v1 anyone. Like, if you get really fed and are snowballed, then you can pull it off. But Sivir's dueling potential is really low, and especially since a lot of your damage is like skill shot reliant on your Q, you don't have all that much guaranteed damage, and there's a lot of potential for enemies to outplay you. And it's not necessarily your fault that you can't 1v1 him. Like, don't feel down because, oh, we were ahead and like I couldn't 1v1 him. Like, that's not your job as Sivir. Like, you shouldn't be trying to 1v1 him. Your mistake isn't in dying to him here, it's to the, like, you being here at all. So like, you should never be 1v1 against, and not even just against Lucian, like against anyone. So you shouldn't have like showed yourself to come wave clear right here. You should have been with your team over here, or they should have been with you, one or the other. But like, he like crits you twice in a row and you just die. Sivir's, like I said, not a good duelist. Like, don't try to do flashy plays like that. And that, like, you dying here delayed you guys from closing the game out as well, because you didn't have your 80 carry to mow towers down. So just understand like what everyone's role in the team comp is, what your strengths are as champions, what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. And we need to we need to fix these builds. Like, instead of Roa Deathcap haunting guys, like you still only have like 5 CR. And finally you have Zonias, but you got Zonias really late. So your utility was way lower than it should have been. Maddie, you have to play according to the playstyle of the 80s that you're playing. You guys needed an earlier Abyssosceptor aside from Morgana. And the Ludens was kind of silly on Vlad. I would have much rather seen an earlier Zonia's and then like Riley's Deathcap or something like that. But you guys played well. And then, like I said, the Black Cleaver was no bueno. You guys had a triple AP comp. You don't need Armor Shred. So your calls were good. You need more clean breaks after objectives. You need to clean up your builds, clean up your pathing, your tower sieges, and your vision was actually pretty good this game. Maddie, you didn't buy a pink ward all game, so that was the only thing there. But other than that, like, everyone upgraded their trinkets except for Maddie and Vlad. Vlad, you need to upgrade your trinket way sooner. You guys are like level 17, 18, like you can do it at level 9. You could have also had a sweeper. Maddie, you could have had a blue trinket, so that when you guys were doing Baron, you could have, like, you know, had further scouting vision, made it a little safer, things like that. But for the most part, you guys are, you know, you're doing pretty well. I mean, this looks better than the other night when I was spectating you guys live. So it looks like you guys are doing better now. You're back on the same page and communicating. So that's good. I'm going to wrap this video up and start the next demo though. So thanks for watching, guys.